Okay. Audio recording. Video is now recording. So, syncing it up in 3, 2... Okay. So, I just got back from seeing The Last Jedi. And I just want to kind of get my thoughts out about this. I'm not going to edit this as much as I usually do. This isn't going to be more of like a... This isn't really going to be a big fanboy rewrite. This is just kind of be me talking about the movie, talking about Star Wars, because I like Star Wars a lot. It's really important to me. And yeah. So yeah, just going to kind of get my thoughts out there. I'll do no spoilers for the first however long I talk about it, and then I'll warn whenever there's spoilers, and I'll give you plenty of time to get out and stuff. So okay, yeah. So overall, the movie was really good. It was a fun, good time. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Now saying that a movie is a fun time is almost like an insult, but it was fun. It was a really enjoyable movie. There were some really great parts, and then some parts that kind of... I think of this movie, I think the perfect way to sum up this movie is to say it's a very great movie with some flaws that bog it down quite a bit. And I'll get into those flaws and specifically later in the video. Yeah, so overall I enjoyed it. It was fun. There were some things that really bothered me, like some plot things and just some storylines that I just didn't care. This is the first movie in a long time that I've actually gotten up to go to the bathroom. I've never done that before. I don't like doing that. But I really had to go to the bathroom, and I was just like, this subplot I don't like. So the next time these characters are on screen, I'm gonna fucking book it and I'm gonna go. But yeah, there were some really great stories, and then some stories that were just like felt tacked on. And I understand they all weave together and they make this big overarching theme, which I really like that theme, but I just think some of those subplots could have been done a little bit better is all. Where would I rank it in terms of other Star Wars movies? It's hard to say right now because I just saw it. I mean, not just saw it. I saw it 2 hours ago, and I'm just kind of thinking. I definitely want to see it a second time to really make sure. But in terms of quality, I'd say it's on par. It's equal to Force Awakens in a different way. Force Awakens was a really solid movie all around that just happened to, it copied A New Hope a lot, which that is the biggest issue with it, is the blatant almost ripping off of A New Hope. The Last Jedi is the same level of quality in a different way. It's not a rehash of Empire. It's not a rehash of Return of the Jedi. It's not a rehash of anything really. There are obviously some themes from other movies because it's the 8th movie in a franchise. They're gonna take some things from other things. They're gonna have to reuse some story elements. But in terms of ranking them, it's hard to say right now. I'd say it's probably up there with Episode 7. If you don't, I think of Episode 7 just below Return of the Jedi because I really like Return of the Jedi. I shouldn't, but I really do. That's a whole other thing. Yeah, it's just there are these story arcs that were just these subplots that are just like, it feels like the Rathtar sequence from Episode 7 up to like a crazy high scale. Like Disney was like, hey, people didn't like the Rathtar sequence, let's do something even weirder than that. And I'll get more into detail with that in my spoiler review, which what else do I have to say? Yeah, it's hard to do a Star Wars review without talking about spoilers because you really want to go into this blind. It definitely helps. There are some surprises that there are some crazy surprises in this movie that I lost my mind. The people next to me probably got a little annoyed, especially one at the end, which I'll go into. I loved. Yeah. Okay. Can't really. Yeah, I think that kind of covers it for spoiler free. I mean, yeah, I think that kind of covers it for spoiler free. It's hard to say. So yeah, I guess I'll go into the spoiler stuff now. I got a notification. Get rid of that. Don't mind the crappy camera. My tripod literally just broke as I was trying to film this. So, so yeah, I'm gonna go into spoilers right now. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely get the fuck out of here, because you really want to go in blind to this thing. I'm gonna talk about not everything, because I just saw it. I don't remember everything that happened in the movie, but I'm gonna talk about the big things, the things that I liked, the things I really didn't like. And maybe I'll do a little bit of a off the head fanboy rewrite. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. Okay. So yeah, spoilers. Big old fucking warning. Get the fuck out. Anyway. Okay, so let's start with things I really liked. I really liked Rey. I really liked Kylo. I loved Luke. I think the Rey story arc and the Kylo and the Luke, that subplot, I wouldn't really call it the subplot, it's the main plot. That was without a doubt that carried the movie for me. I think that was fantastic and super well done. I loved the Rey and Kylo interactions through the Force, the little bridging of the minds and how they would touch each other, and how like physical things would transfer between like the water and stuff. I thought that was super cool. And I always like when the protagonist and the antagonist can try and talk things out without resorting to violence, and I think this was a really smart way to do it, and how it came up randomly, and like Kylo was shirtless in one of them, and Rey was like, please just put on a towel or something. I really liked that. Another thing I liked in theory, I liked Poe's story a lot. I like the kind of mutiny. He wants to take over the captain, whose name I'm blanking on right now. And he has to learn that sometimes you're gonna fail, and like failure is definitely a big theme of this movie, which I really liked. I liked that theme a lot. And other things I like, I loved the Yoda scene. I thought that was fantastic. The whole movie, I was like, I really want to see a Force ghost, because we didn't get any in Force Awakens, even though they were gonna do some. So I really wanted to see some Force ghosts. And in the scene when Rey is going through the creepy ass dark side butthole thing, when she sees her reflection, I'm wearing glasses, so my vision's not the best. I thought it was a Force ghost of Qui-Gon, and I was like, no way, that's so cool. But no, it wasn't. Which that makes sense, because technically Qui-Gon can't do Force ghosts yet, or I can't remember. Oh no, in one of the new books he can. Never mind, don't forget that. But yeah, I loved the Yoda scene. At first, in the first shot, he looked a little weird and CGI to me, but then later on in that scene, he got a lot better, and I loved it. I love how they kept it as a puppet. I love how they didn't try more notifications. Is it blowing up? I love how they kept it as a puppet. I love how they didn't try and replicate the prequels with CGI Yoda and stuff. I thought that stuff was great. I loved Luke kind of shitting on the Jedi. He was like, yeah, I love Luke shitting on the Jedi about how they were arrogant, and about how they let Sidious take them, and ruin them and stuff. I really love that, because that's my favorite part about the prequels is Palpatine and Sidious and stuff like that. Other things I liked, I really liked the last planet. I'm really bad with planet names. Fuck. The salt planet, I thought that was super cool. It looked like Hoth, so like you still have the brightness of Hoth, but the red dirt underneath the salt it just added this really cool visual that I really enjoyed. Okay, so yeah, I'll get into the big surprise that made me I lost my fucking mind here. So Luke shows up in the final battle, and he single-handedly he's gonna face down the AT-ATs and Kylo and stuff. And Kylo gets out, and Luke pulls out a lightsaber, and it's a blue lightsaber. And I'm a big fan of the Return of the Jedi lightsaber. I think it looks really cool. I'm actually building one that looks pretty similar to it. So he whips out a lightsaber, and I'm like, so he has a lightsaber on his belt, and I immediately know that it's not the Return of the Jedi one, just because it doesn't look like it. And it looks like Anakin's, and I was like, wait, didn't that just explode? What's going on with her? And I thought he had Vader's lightsaber. I thought that would have been really freaking cool, because early on we see that he has a necklace with a red kyber crystal in it, which I would assume is Vader's. But yeah, so he's like, so Luke is just being cool, and he's lightsaber fighting with Kylo and stuff, and then Kylo fucking tries to cut him in half, and it passes through him, and he's not even fucking there. We go to him being meditating and force projecting that entire everything we'd seen of him, and he never left the island. That to me was the biggest oh shit moment, where I was like, holy shit. They're taking the Force and they're really broadening it. It's no longer just move things with your mind and shoot lightning and choke people. Now it's kind of like airbending now. In Legend of Korra, Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, where in Legend of Korra, some airbenders could project themselves, which I thought was really cool. And of course, that scene, that really, really awesome scene, leads to the heartbreaking scene of Luke, as God, I can't even put into words. Just it wasn't of Luke dies. Luke after he saves the Resistance, he fades away just like Obi-Wan and just like Yoda did. And we were meant to assume that he dies and he becomes one with the Force. And this scene was so beautiful. He looks off into the suns, and I love it. It was gorgeous, and it was heartbreaking, but it was heartbreaking in a way of just, it wasn't sad. It was, this man has found peace, and I respect it, and I care about, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying. I'm just kind of going off. This has been long already. Yes, okay, so things fuck it, we're just gonna go to things I don't like, because there are a lot of things I liked about this movie, and for Fanboy Rewrites, I have to talk about things I don't like, so I have to be a little negative little bitch. So things I don't like, like I said earlier, Poe's story works in principle. I think the idea of the failure in the mutiny, it works really well, but just the fact that the general, it could have been solved so easily if the general had just fucking told him what the plan was. Like, I feel like they didn't really establish well enough a reason for her to not say anything or anything. I'm not sure how you would fix that. That's the problem. Maybe, yeah, I don't know how you would fix it except maybe just include a scene where Poe is like, "What's your plan?" And then she's like, "Doesn't matter to you." Or something like full on, like, be like a really like dickish parent. Be when the kid's like, "Hey, why am I doing this? Because I said so." Be like, do that kind of stuff. Because that's, fuck those people. Yeah. So that kind of bothered me. But it was far from the worst subplot of the movie, because I did not care for the Finn and Rose subplot. I like Finn. I liked Rose. I love Finn, actually. He's like one of my, I think he was my favorite part of Force Awakens. It's hard to tell. I don't know. I like the movie a lot. I like the characters in the story. I just think the way that their subplot was handled was it felt so jarring, and the pacing was kind of ruined, because they go to this planet, this casino planet, that firstly doesn't add much to the story. It doesn't really matter. And also, it's not even unique in a way that, like, it's okay, it's unique, but it's not interesting to me. It just looked kind of like it looked like the Hunger Games, almost. Just like a weirder, futuristic version of Earth. So I was just like, I don't care. And that was only made worse by the weird-ass fucking, like, Last Guardian horse things that they had. And I like I like the theme of the animal cruelty and stuff. I think that's super important. But I just think, I don't know, it was just so boring. It wasn't interesting to me, and it felt like a prequel scene, or it felt like something out of like something like Monster Trucks or something. That was a weird example of a movie. Ignore that. But like, it just, I don't know. It felt like not Star Wars, which, I mean, a lot of this movie felt like not Star Wars, but most of that was not Star Wars in the way that, like, it was evolving Star Wars. This felt like it was not Star Wars, as in it was trying to be something completely different. Like, it was trying to be like Guardians of the Galaxy or something. Which a lot of movies are trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy now. Yeah, so that story really bugged me to the point where I was just like, I have to pee really bad, And I don't give a shit about this story. So the next time Finn and Rose are on screen, I'm just gonna book it. I'm gonna go. Luckily, I only missed the one scene of when Benicio del Toro's character asked for the necklace. And I asked my friends about it later, and they said it wasn't really that important. So we good, fam. But yeah, I feel like the Finn and Rey's. I understand the Finn and the Finn and Rose subplot. Sorry, I understand that subplot is important because it's about Poe learning to fail, and like, you know, that's really important. You know, that's the big theme of failure and learning from failures and stuff, which I think is really good. Is a good message to have. But I think the big chunks of it were so it felt like you could cut it up a little bit better. And not to mention the kids felt really Phantom Menace-y to me. It felt like it felt super prequel in not the right ways. Just weird, just awkward acting because they're children, and just like, I don't know, it brought flashbacks of PTSD to Phantom Menace. So yeah, and then I guess that one kid's important because he did the force pull on the broom, which I think that's interesting. I'm surprised. I'm interested to see where they go with it. I'm interested to see if that kid's going to be a main character of episode 9, or if he's going to be the main character of the Rian Johnson trilogy that we know is happening, or maybe like a potential like episode 10 if they like do a time jump or something. Because they're clearly trying to push away from the Skywalkers, which I like. I also liked how Rey's parents were fucking nobodies. That was really cool. That was fun. I liked how back to things I liked. So many things I liked. I liked how Snoke. I actually liked how Snoke died. I like that they killed him off. I think that they shouldn't have shown the lightsaber turning. I think it would have been a bigger surprise if we think that Kylo's going to kill Rey, and he squeezes his hand, and then it goes through Snoke's chest and then slices him in half. I thought that was really cool. The one thing about Snoke that really bothered me was the fact that he didn't have a backstory. With the fact that he was just like, we build him up to be this big thing, this big like all-powerful, super strong Force user who can like there was a scene where he bounced the lightning off the ground to hit. I think it was Kylo. I can't remember, or it might have been Rey. I can't remember. And I thought that was super cool. But we build him up, and then we don't get any payoff with that, which for something like Rey's parents, I think that works beautifully, because we had been spending years being like, who's Rey's parents? Is it Luke? Is it Obi-Wan? Is it Han? Is it Qui-Gon? Is she another fucking Force Jesus made by the midichlorians kind of person? So I think Rey's parents ending up being nobodies was really interesting and a really good idea. But with Snoke, it was just like, what was the point? Why introduce Snoke to begin with? Why not maybe have it be like do what Battlefront 2 did, and it's a projection of the Emperor or something? I don't know. I guess that wouldn't really work as well. I don't know. I don't really know how I would fix that. Again, I'm not planning on doing a full fanboy rewrite of this. It's not worth the effort, especially because I don't know the plans for 9. I think that's really important to know. Maybe when the whole trilogy's out, I'll do a video about it. We'll see. But for the things that I would change as of right now, just what I'm thinking, I'd say most of the changes are going to be to the Finn subplot. I'd say, so Finn and Rose, they go to the gambling place, the planet, to find a code breaker. But they get her, and it shouldn't. I don't think it should look the way it looked. I didn't really like that visual design, but that's just a preference, I think. So they get there, and they're immediately arrested. They should just get arrested like the second they touch foot, because they had parked illegally or something dumb. I don't know. Maybe you can play it off as a joke. Because they were doing a lot of comedy in this movie, which I thought was interesting. For the first half, it kind of messed with the tone, but it definitely it figured itself out by the second half. So I think Finn and Rose should get arrested immediately, and then in the prison they meet the Benicio del Toro character, and also the prison is being not manned, but like slave kids are working the prison. I think because then you can have the kids and stuff if that's important for later movies. Yeah, yeah. So then they go to prison, and then they break out of prison, and instead of having a chase on those little horse things, they get on a speeder, and there can be a cool little like Baby Driver type, chase scene, or like or an Attack of the Clones Coruscant chase scene, which was except better, obviously. Yeah, just because that sequence just felt so out of place, and it kind of ruined Finn's character for me. Not to the point where I didn't care about him when he was about to sacrifice himself, but to the point where I don't know, it dragged the movie down a lot for me. And then so there's one more thing I would change. And this is probably going to be a little controversial. And I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet. I need to kind of think it over and see. But I think that Leia should have been the one to do the light speed attack on the starship, or the, what's it called? Fuck. On the thing. It wasn't the dreadnought. I think Leia should have been the one to do this, the light speed crash into the First Order ship. Because firstly, I think it would have been a really powerful moment. It would have added some emotion to that. It was a really cool sequence of the silent slicing through the ship. I thought that was super cool. But if Leia had been the one to do it, there would have been just some real heavy emotion and stuff, especially with Carrie Fisher's passing. And speaking of Carrie Fisher, it's gonna be really hard for them to write her out in a way that makes sense. And it's terrible that we have to think about it like that, but I wish that she had gone out like a hero instead of what's inevitably going to happen in the next episode, where it's just the crawl is probably just going to say Leia Organa is dead, there's no hope left, or something like that. I think that would be a worse send-off than maybe having to do some tweaks to the script. And I'm not CGIing her because I don't want another Grand Moff Tarkin stuff or whatever, but just figure out a way to make Leia go out like a badass, like a hero, and have that resonate with audiences. But I don't know, that's just a preference, I think. Yeah, I don't know, I think I definitely need to see the movie again for sure, there's no doubt about that. But is there anything else I want to talk about? I guess like as a filmmaker, it was a really pretty, there were some really gorgeous shots in the movie for sure. Like I said, the slicing of the First Order ship with the light speed thing, that was super cool. The shot of the two suns when Luke faded away, I thought that was really cool. There was nothing like spectacular. It was a weird lack of Star Wars transitions. There were only two that I noticed. One of them kind of caught me off guard. It like, instead of being the circle going to the center, it went off to the side and it went into the light speed portal wormhole thing. I don't really know what you would call it. The Doctor Who-ness of Star Wars. Yeah. Everybody did a great job. Everybody who was in the movie was fantastic, obviously. Mark Hamill, I think, is my favorite part because I love Luke Skywalker. I love him. I love Mark Hamill just as a guy. He's a great dude. Yeah. I can't think of anything else to say right now. This is just first impressions, obviously. I'll go see it again. I think I might make a dual, I think I might make another video with someone else, maybe talking about it as a conversation instead of just me in front of this Blue Yeti microphone that I've purchased for my YouTube channel. Heyo. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't really know where to go with this. I'm not gonna do a big too much with this. I'll think about it. We'll see. We'll see. Overall, it's hard to give it a number, but if I were to give it a number, I'd say probably 7.5 or maybe 8.5 out of 10, depending on what I consider a 10. if let's say Empire Strikes Back is a 10, this is probably a 7.5 or an 8. Yeah. With like A New Hope being a 9 and Return of the Jedi being an 8.9, or you know, fucking, I don't know, with decimals we're getting weird. But yeah, it was a fun time. It doesn't ruin Star Wars by any means. Nothing's gonna ruin Star Wars until until we get a Jar Jar Binks solo movie. We'll see about that. Actually, I would love to see that. I'd love it. I would love to watch one. Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not gonna ruin Star Wars. It doesn't ruin the original trilogy. Definitely some disappointments, definitely some issues that really bog it down, but as a whole, it's good time. It's a good, fun movie. And I think the changes that it makes to the Star Wars universe and legacy, I think are super interesting. And I'm interested. I'm really interested to see where they're gonna go with Episode 9. Whether it be following that kid, or whether it be more diving into. Obviously, they're gonna dive into Rey and Kylo some more. Yeah, I have so many thoughts in my head about this movie. Yeah, there's so much to say, but this is already getting kind of long, and I don't really feel like editing this whole thing. So yeah, I'm working on another Fanboy rewrite. Just a little quick update. Quick update for the channel if you're interested, if you care. I'm working on another full Fanboy rewrite. Writing the script. I just got out of finals, so now I have a ton of free time. So I'm good, good shit. Yeah, so right now I'm working on a Fanboy rewrite of the future of Arrow. So I'm gonna kind of just talk about how I would fix Arrow season 6 and onward. I have a script for The Flash season 3, and I recorded it a long time ago, but I never finished editing it. So I think I might re-record it eventually. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. I'm also working on that lightsaber. I think I'll make a video about that once that's in a bit better condition and stuff. Yeah, this is freaking long. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, alright. I don't really know how to end this, so, see ya.